All right, what's good, SML? Welcome back to Stone Searching. Today we got a little Thanos and Friends episode. Joined today by DW and the pastor himself, Dan He 22. What's good, guys?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be a part of the show. Got a lot to say. Got a lot to get off my chest here.
Pretty pumped to have Dan a part of this. I mean, we're missing some of our other key members here. It's been a kind of a hard couple weeks to get us all together, but hey, we're here.
Yeah, well, the Clink and Q opposite schedule always brings a little bit of issue. It's always like, hey, Q, what time do you go in? He's like 4:30. Clink, what time do you get done? 4:30. So that's always something else. But we're doing the best we can here. But should be a good show. We're gonna be talking some off seasons, little division predictions, and then we've got some come on mans to hit you with at the end of it. So I think DW is gonna run us through our top five. I've got our top five best off seasons. Dan's got our top five worst. So yeah, Dan, if you want to kick us off, who's number 5 worst off season?
All right. Well, I guess we're going to jump right into this. None of this kind of complimenting and then critiquing, then giving a compliment, saying what's going on here. We're going right into it. It was actually really hard to kind of break down to the worst 5. So I've got some honorable mentions. So I got a list. So I'm going to just kind of shoot some of these guys, right off the bat here. Honorable mentions. First of all, I gotta, I'm going to throw Figs out there. I mean, I know you didn't have a first, so you didn't have much you could do there, but you got the Niners. You got a lot of great pieces. You did well with a rookie running back, and then what do you go and do? You go and trade for basically a slightly better version of the same running back. So now you have 2 of them on your roster, and you didn't address anything anywhere else in your secondary. So, Figs, I'm sure it would have been worse if you traded Lance, and that might be next offseason. But you're just
hold your
honorable
breath on that.
Yep. We got honorable mention for this. Is kind of wasn't off season, but it kind of was because it was right in the middle of the season. But honorable mention for Fields, man, trading your first for AB and Gronk, and then you didn't even re-sign them, and so now they're on other teams, man. I know your work schedule came in there, so that's why you're not in the top 5. I'm giving you a little break on that, but man, bad off season for you. And then the third honorable mention, I've been on this guy, I've been nonstop on him, but I'm going to keep on him because he's convinced that Haskins is the answer at quarterback. And Matt, come on, man, what are you doing here? He's not even a 22, 23-year-old quarterback. There's other quarterbacks you could have picked up. And I know you didn't want to give up draft picks, but you could have picked them up in FA. You got plenty of cap space. That wasn't the issue. But you just stubbornly sat there and just are rolling with Haskins again. So you're another honorable mention there. So those are my honorable mentions. Started coming in at number 5. I've got Colt and the Rams as my one of my top 5 worst off seasons, because here's what I look at it. He decided not to sign Stafford. Couldn't really trade him. I think he ended up in FA, if I remember correct. Is that right? Do you guys know?
Yes, I believe he's with New England right now.
Yeah. So he didn't even trade him, just flat out cut him, and now he is rolling with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. So not sure what the plan was there. Most important position on your team. Again, I know you don't have first. I know you're working with the cupboard's a little bare there, but you can't screw up the quarterback position. You can't cut Stafford and then come out with Jacoby Brissett. So Colt, you're number 5. Number 4, I'm going to the Ravens, and a draft day deal, man. I know you wanted some running back, and you were looking at him, but you ended up giving up your starting young running back, moving back, or giving more picks up, and you ended up just drafting basically a kind of an average running back, nothing really special. So you moved all those picks. You moved a nice running back in J.K. Dobbins, and then you pick up this rookie who's, he's 21 years old, 77 overall, but we'll see what he can do. And I think he gave up way too much. So that's number 4. Number 3, I know this is a little controversial, and I know that there's some other decisions out there pending, but I'm going to the Raiders. And I really, really dislike what the Raiders was trying to do this year. First of all, you gave up on your running back, which, jury's still out what you're trying to do there. You're trying to replace him with some kind of backup, some kind of average running backs. You also make a huge deal for Adams, which, again, nice to have a big player, but he's 29 on a 5-year deal, I think over $100 million contract. And now you're starting, Cam Newton. Now, I know there's this rumor out there, and I know you're trying to go after A-Rod, but you're going to have to give up a lot just to get A-Rod. To get him under the cap, and then you've already wasted 5 games in the season as Cam Newton was your quarterback. So Raiders, you're really not sure what you're doing over there. You know what? Maybe it'll work out. Maybe you think this season you can win it all. Somehow you think you can beat Prime, myself. You can beat Bomber. You can beat Fazz. You can win the Super Bowl through the AFC. Because if you don't do it this season, hopefully Rodgers is there next season. If not, I don't know what you're doing, and you have no quarterback. So not a big fan, but by far the two worst. So those guys were bad, but the 2 worst off seasons. First, we're going to Cincinnati and to Spooky. Spooky, my man. I don't know what you're thinking. Right before the draft, you decide to swap picks with Paulie. Now, again, Spooky, you picked 3rd in this draft. You had the 3rd overall pick. And you believe somehow that you are going to do better than Paulie is next season, when Paulie, I believe, at least made it to the playoffs, might have lost the first round. But you think you're going to make that jump, and you trade away your first pick for the next draft. Not sure what you're doing there. And then the next move, you decide, hey, I'm going to get a backup running back. So I'm going to go out and try to get a backup running back. Okay, sure, not a bad decision. Next move, you decide all of a sudden I'm going to give away one of my young pass rushers for a few picks. Okay, maybe you have some depth there. But then you try to go for a 4th trade, and you try to get rid of Burrow, and you can't get rid of Burrow. And so now you're stuck with a Burrow on your team for another year. You get nothing out of him. I don't know what you're doing, Spooky. So you're number 2. Number 1, I think everybody knows. I think everybody was making fun of it in the draft chat. I think everybody gets it. Tiny and the Philadelphia Eagles. You have 4 first-round picks.
Linebacker,
you spend every single first-round pick on a linebacker. Now, I know they're not all the same. I know some are pass rushers, some are coverage guys. I get that. But Tiny. Madden 21, Madden 22, they've nuked the linebacker. The linebacker is not as significant as they have been in the past. You don't need 4 first-round picks on linebackers. You not sure you have the right quarterback. You're not sure you have the right running back. You've got other areas that you could address and look at, and you spend all 4 first-round picks on linebackers. So, Tiny, you were set up. You had a great opportunity. You could have launched that franchise into a great cycle, and you go ahead and spend 4 picks on first-round linebackers. So there I have it, guys, man. Those were some of my worst off seasons. Let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear some of your feedback.
Yeah, first off for me, Dan, do you think that possibly Colt, with your number 5 worst overall, do you think possibly that he couldn't re-sign? What the hell's the quarterback?
Stafford.
Do you think that, because that team is so loaded with talent, old veteran superstars, do you think that maybe he had to get rid of him?
Again, someone can maybe refresh my memory, but I believe he had him signed. I think he was fine with that. I think he just wanted to get rid of him because he was going to get a different quarterback, and he never did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stafford was
under
contract still. I'm pulling it up actually right here if my computer loads.
Yeah, I'm almost certain
he's signed for at least another season after this one.
Wow.
So his purpose was to get another quarterback, and he ended up with Jacoby Brissett. So I'm not sure if he swung and missed. He didn't have draft picks, so he wasn't going to get a draft pick. I don't know who he thought he was going to get in free agency. I don't know what his plan was, but he's going through a whole season with Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback.
Man.
I was also surprised you didn't bring this move up, but he got a little bit of flack from Mike, and I believe from you as well, for the Tutu Atwell trade, which you didn't even highlight that one.
You're right. You're right. I did miss that one because I didn't even have that guy on my radar until I saw him on your team, and then I'm wondering why you didn't play him, and then Mike told me it was a trade, and again, 94 speed, young guy, it's Madden. I mean, whatever you want to say about Madden, every year speed still matters. So Not sure what would you have to give up for that for him.
I gave up a third-round pick, my third-round pick.
Okay.
So obviously it was pretty late. I was worried that maybe Colt had used him and knew that he had absolute concrete blocks for hands. But I just think he outright just didn't use him at all. I don't even think he tried him. So
and that's a myth too. There's no such thing as a guy that can't catch. So that's that's just in your mind. That's just even the open drop straight. I've rarely seen that become a factor. So that's just a bad trade all around. So yeah, that might even move him up to 4. That might bump him ahead over the Ravens.
Sorry, Cole.
Yeah. So Rams and Ravens were in there just for interesting decisions. And I mean, it's interesting too. I mean, we do this next season. We got some guys already that are starting to make their way up on this list here. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Cam Jordan Hardman trade, but so far not looking so good for Prime. And I know he got some flack from that. Lost his best friend and his boy lover there in Paulie, and so it might be more damage than he realizes.
Yeah, Jordan came at a pretty heavy cost there with the loss of Paulie.
I have one more thing to add. How bad was the downgrade that Spades made with trading Dobbins? Is it really that huge of a deal?
No, I don't think it was that bad of a deal. I think, and honestly, I would probably say they're washed as far as, his guy's younger and faster. So there's a good thing there. It's all that he gave up for it. I think he moved back. He gave up you had to move up like 8 spots if my memory's correct, and then he had to give up a second-round pick. He just had to give up way too much for a guy that's normal dev and really, in my view, maybe a slight upgrade, but it's again, you go into a team building situation, and if you have the Ravens, I'm not really looking to say, well, one of the areas I got to get better is my running back. That'd be the last kind of thought in my mind. So it's just when guys look at teams and they look at it overall. Same thing, with Fig when he looks at the Niners and he's like, where do I need to improve this offseason? Oh yeah, I need to get another running back just like the one I had. So it's those kind of decisions that just kind of baffle my mind when you look around. You say, okay, well, maybe who's getting older that I'm going to have to replace in a few years? Where's a position group that I'm weak in? Those are the type of things you want to look at to build your roster, not, hopefully I get a 2-bump speed increase at my running back position. Meanwhile, I'm going to give up, extra picks and I'm going to lose other opportunities to get stuff. So, it's those kind of decisions that are the ones that kind of baffle me when I'm looking around, or, the decisions from, Tiny to think that, okay, I need 4 linebackers on my team. That's going to help me for the whole cycle be a better team when you're sitting there and you're questioning your quarterback, you're questioning your running back. You got an aging offensive line, aging defensive line. Those are things that it's just baffling when people are trying to break this down.
And then Fazz, one more thing for us that I just want to throw in there because it's our division. Those 2 guys, their terrible off seasons have directly affected us because now Meats has his running back. He's got Dobbins. Major improvement over everybody else he had running for him last year. And also Rice for the next, I don't know how long Stafford will be around. I'm assuming at least 3 or 4 seasons probably. That's a major improvement over Mac Jones. And I mean, at that AFC East, it's just getting, that much tougher now.
Yeah, those off seasons absolutely directly hurt us. The Ravens trade was rough to watch go down. It was doubly rough when you saw kids' attributes. The Ravens, like Dan highlighted, pretty old defensive line that isn't very good, pretty old secondary. He really could have used, I think it was pick 50. I think he gave up pick 50 to move up 8 spots, and obviously gave up Dobbins as well to get somebody worse than Dobbins. And it's not even like Kidd is on track to develop anyway. He can't run the ball. The guy can only throw it. So, he's looking at, unless he gets really lucky with a dev game, he's looking at probably 2 full seasons at best case before this guy even has abilities. So it's that one's just looking worse by the day there. So I'm definitely on board with dogging on the Ravens here. But that's all I got for worst off season. Do you have anything more, DW?
No, nothing at all.
All right, well, we'll take a look at the 5 best I've got. The first one is just a pretty direct disagreement with Dan. I actually have the Raiders. I kind of liked what he did this offseason. Obviously, this is a little contingent on the Rodgers trade going through. But, this is a guy who came into a team that didn't have his first-round pick because RD got rid of it for Von Miller. So I feel like he kind of took what, RD set him up with and just kind of started to make the best of it. He figured, well, if RD is going to go all in, I might as well try and finish the job here. He goes out, he signs Adams to a monster contract. We'll see how that affects him down the line. It shouldn't be too bad.
What was that? What did that end up being? Do you know?
5 years, $100 million.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
So when he's 34, he's going to be making $25 million a year.
Yeah. Now at that point, he might be able to cut him for save. He might not be totally locked into that.
Well, Faz, let me ask your opinion on this. So again, let's assume that this Rodgers deal goes through, and let's assume as well that he's not going to have to lose a lot of talent just to get under the cap. Okay, let's just assume it goes through. He's already given up 5 games to the season. Do you think that, anywhere, like any team, is that wise to say, like, I'm giving up 5 games with Cam Newton as my quarterback, and then I'm taking the gamble that Rodgers will even make it past? So he might only get 2/3 of a full season with Rodgers, and he's also in a conference with some pretty big heavyweights. Is this a win? Like there's just a lot of questions about why would you even try to make this move go in this direction? That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I think I can see why he did it. I can understand the reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. I liked what he did with the Jacobs move. It helped. He really didn't downgrade a whole lot. Drake is, a downgrade, but it's not a huge downgrade. He added Samuel. He added Kinlaw.
How can you say Drake's not a huge downgrade? Drake's 28 years old and just a basic average-of-the-mill free agent running back. Jacobs at least has some power and some youth to him.
Yeah, Jacob, he for sure has some power and youth, but this is not a Madden where you need a stud running back.
He picks up. Well, we all don't have Josh Allen, okay?
Well, that's the thing though. He's about to have the only other quarterback in the league with Gunslinger.
He also picked up Deebo Samuel in that trade. So if you're going to go, okay, that's fine. Again, if he chooses to say, okay, I don't need Jacobs, I'm going to go more pass heavy. Fine, that's great. But does he really need Ruggs, Samuel, and Adams on the team? Does he need to invest that much money on and Waller too? Like again, when you look at the scope of your team, he's going all in, and again, he must believe that he can make it to the Super Bowl. Like that's the only reason you go for Rodgers, right?
Yeah, and I mean, hey, maybe in his head he thinks he can do that. It remains to be seen. I think he basically looked at the AFC. He said there's, a couple of open playoff spots. The bottom of the AFC playoff race is not, sealed by any means. Obviously, winning the division
offense,
is
DW.
tough.
No offense, DW.
Hey, it's wide open. There was 3-4 teams.
Fazz isn't ripping on you for that one, okay? He's just stating facts. All right.
Dan,
I believe in you.
Dan, if it wasn't directly for you, I wouldn't have even been in the playoffs last year, so thank
you. Hey, all I'm saying is that the bottom of the AFC playoff race is open. There was about 3-4 teams that had a shot at it last season. He was one of them, despite not even being here for the first little bit. So, I think he figures
he actually benefited from RD giving him a 5-1 record.
Sure.
So,
for sure he did.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Sure. Hey, man, you can have your opinion. I'm just gonna challenge it. I'm gonna push back.
Hey, totally fine. That's what we're here for.
Go ahead.
So I think he thinks I can squeeze in, and then from there, I mean, it's one game at a time. Anything can happen in a 1-game playoff. Is he beating most of the top dogs in a series? Probably not, but he doesn't have to. And if Waller makes a ridiculous play, if Adams mosses somebody in the end zone, Rodgers, I mean, he's loaded himself with so many weapons that this is a team I could at least see making one of those crazy runs that it's like, wow, how is this happening? Oh, look, Henry Ruggs is behind me again for a 97-yard touchdown.
No, I agree. I do like that. I think when you're looking at a team building, like he's just got to have a lot of confidence to say, I'm going for it. Which again, we could have said that with Fields too when he went after AB and Gronk and then gave up a first. But you also have to be realistic too about what the odds look like, and is that a wise decision? So, again, I think the jury's still a little bit out. But I'd push back on thinking it's one of the better 5 moves or 5 off seasons this past off season.
Well, the other point to be made is there really weren't many super good off seasons. So I think that also played a small factor.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because I mean, I know like a lot of off seasons. Like I really didn't do much of anything. I signed some depth players. You drafted a rookie quarterback. So there wasn't a ton of off seasons that I looked at and was like, wow, that was a really good off season. So I thought he did enough that we could see it work out for him, and maybe in 4 seasons we look back at it and we're like, it didn't work out. But for now, I can commend it. I liked what he did. So for number 4, I have Mike FML and the Colts. I think this is basically another team where he looked at it and he said, my division's wide open, the old Super Weenie Hut Jr. He said, I'm just kind of going to go for it. I liked his move where he went out and he got Carr from the Raiders. I think, and obviously we've seen it, he's throwing very well with him. This is some of the best I've seen Mike pass. Mixing it in with Jonathan Taylor, he decided, I don't care about speed at wide receiver, drafts an 89 speed guy, but he's making it work. He did pretty well in the draft as well. He got, I believe, a very nice linebacker. I can't remember his name, but he should pair well with, is it Cash Malua? Nope, not him. But either way, I think he got a nice linebacker. He made a couple depth free agent signings. Basically, I think put himself as kind of the front runner of that AFC South, which again is not the hardest thing to do in the world. But so far, it's working out for him. He looks really good. He's at 3-1. He actually has the second ranked passing attack in the league and second most points for in the SML. Mike FML. You got to put that in perspective there. I love seeing that. Also, great number here. He left 0.02 million of salary free, so he really just went all in.
Yeah, I also would agree with you. I think Mike had a really good offseason, which would also add to my belief Raiders didn't, because he gave away Carr for nothing. But I think Mike's building a team in a wise manner, and I think he's moving in the right direction. So hats off to Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very nice to see him having that kind of success. Hopefully, he can continue it, and we'll see him in the AFC playoffs here. So for number 3, I have Q in the Detroit Lions. I thought he had a stellar offseason, kind of rebuilding his entire offense. When I went to redo the SML fantasy football sheet, I just literally had to delete all of his wide receivers because he just got rid of all of them. So none of them are the same. He adds Will Fuller, which, adding to Tiny's awful all season. Not re-signing Will Fuller was highly questionable at best.
Didn't he trade him for a first?
A second. Yeah, he traded a second for Will Fuller and then didn't re-sign him.
And then didn't sign him.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And he's still at 95 speed. So you have to wonder what that was about. Q capitalized on that, and he signs Will Fuller, 95 speed. He drafted Quan Stoudemire, 94 speed. He got Mike Williams from you as his possession guy. So he really just remakes his entire offense, and they are dangerous. Obviously, with Q passing as well, that's just another dangerous part of the team, just continuing to establish himself as a favorite. He added Kareem Jackson and Jordan Poyer to kind of help nail down the secondary. So basically just, good mix of drafting and adding guys in free agency to, keep the team young, but also add some pieces to win now, considering, he was always going to be in that situation, being one of the better players in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's his view of team building, and what he did is exactly what I was trying to get at. He identified a position area he needed to improve, to take the next step, and he went after it in receiver to pair with Justin Herbert. And so now you look at it and say, now he's got weapons. So to me, that's, again, if guys are out there listening, I mean, we give them a hard time and we rip on them. Sure, that's part of the fun of it all. But to learn from it is just identify areas you got to go after and do it. And so hats off to Q again. Good job. And I agree. I think he's going to be dangerous with that wide receiver crew.
I think that team is, it still needs some work, obviously, but from where he started with, holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, massive improvements there, and that's going to make the NFC race quite fun because he now has a roster that can, really compete with the Paulies and the Dumps. That was, kind of one thing you were concerned about last season. So at number 2, I have Bomber in the Cleveland Browns. He's pretty much always makes these lists. Guy is a great team builder, probably the best in the league. At the beginning of last season, he added a lot of picks. Basically, just really capitalized on moving those around. He ended up packaging one of his first and I believe a second to move up, and he took Marcus Sharp, strong safety. This guy's a freak. I think he's a superstar. 88 speed.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, this guy is quite good. Already good zone. I believe he's his sub, and he's just flying around the field with him. So he looks quite good. Obviously, already adding to what was a very good offense. Didn't have to change much there. He also took a nasty defensive tackle. This guy, Max Quinn, also hidden dev, 21, 6'4", 300. He's got 91 strength. So this guy is a beast, just, adding to a ridiculous defensive line that already has Clowney and Myles Garrett and Matthew Ioannidis. So, this team is just loaded. They continue to get more loaded. The Browns and where they started plus Bombers team building is a very scary combination for the rest of the AFC.
Yeah, I actually had Bombers number 2 as well too, and you didn't even add in the fact that he got probably the best tight end in the draft.
I didn't even realize that.
At his numbers, his numbers not quite top end speed like Pitts, but every other category is just like Pitts. So he added 3 significant pieces, and then again, this is just the thought process of what team building is. So he added that rookie now that took over the sub spot. So then he moves Johnson for a second and third to the Titans. So he's already preparing himself for next draft, and he's looking ahead. And so. I actually had Bomber as number 2 on my list as well.
Yep, just another great offseason for Bomber. He churns them out every single season. Number 1, I have Fins in the Denver Broncos. This was pretty much all in the draft, but man, he needed to hit, and he sure did. Casey Barnett looks great at quarterback. Took a slight chance just with the overall number, but he said overall doesn't matter. Looked at the combine. Great work there. I believe he's at least superstar. I think he's X Factor, or at least that's what he's guessing. Good speed, 21 years old. He should develop into an absolute stud. He drafted Chance Young as well, receiver, 95 speed, also superstar. I believe he also got Julius Albert, free safety. This guy is 6'4". He's 22. He has 91 speed, hidden dev. This guy is an absolute monster. So I think, Fins really nailed the draft. That's, exactly what he needed to do. Continuing to add young talent to this team. We'll see if his gameplay can, start to match the team and start to challenge some of you guys in that, really rough division. But he's certainly starting off well with, putting pieces in place and doing a great job kind of building this team to start to maybe compete.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had him at number 1 as well. I thought he just did an excellent job given what he had. Every draft pick was a need, but also the right pick. And I just played him last night, and significant improvement. I mean, just actually making it a game and moving the ball and playing good defense. So I think Fins is on the right track, and I think he just nailed this offseason and did again everything that I would have done in a way of looking at what he needed to do, and he did an excellent job. So hats off, Fins.
Yeah, and if I also could jump in there, I mean, Fins is obviously an SML favorite in everybody's eyes. Everybody wants to see him do well. I'm hoping he pulls off like KJ did last year, where KJ kind of struggled the first 3 or 4 years, and then he had that one season where all of his developed guys came together.
Yep.
And I think Fins can pull that off, and hopefully, I mean, it's an uphill battle with that division he's in, but man, you get the once he gets these guys all devved up, he's gonna be able to make some noise over there, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's really, again, identifying who you are as a player, identifying kind of where you're at, and playing this game out. I mean, we play eight seasons. That's a long cycle. Not everybody's gonna be able to win every season in that cycle, and so Fins is playing this long game. He's making some good moves. He's making some good decisions. I'm definitely in his corner, and hopefully he gets to beat up on the Raiders and the Chiefs, and everything else goes according to his plan.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, Finns, we're rooting for you. You got some fans on the show for sure. And, great job to our top 5. I do have a question, though, because you disagreed on the Raiders. You agreed on the other 4. Dan, who was your 5th?
I've actually had 3 of them different than you.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So that's okay. That's okay. I had Miami. I had Meats in there. I thought that one trade that he made was significant. That was well done.
Yep.
I had Paulie in there. Number 4 was Paulie for me.
Just for getting Spooky's pick.
Getting Spooky's pick, but also the defensive end he got because of the Fields pick. He might be a monster. Again, we're still, the jury's still out whether or not defensive ends matter in this game. But if there is one that does matter, he got the right one, and he's going to be a monster. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that guy can do. So hats off to that. And then my number 5 was more or less kind of, I don't know, more considering what happened last season to what he did already. I have Woods in the Panthers. And the reason why is because he had the Browns last year, and he just kind of destroyed that team. I mean, just making some bad decisions and not building off a solid foundation. And this offseason so far, Woods has done a great job not moving the young guys and just letting them develop. That team is super young. They're super fast. He's got everything he needed. And then he went out and drafted a great quarterback to replace Sam Bradford for his future. So he's lined that team up if he just doesn't make moves. So that my number 5 was Woods because he didn't make moves. And he just sat pat. And I think he's going to be set up for the future well with that team.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Sorry.
Go on, DW.
If I could add something here, I would, you guys are both 2 top guys in the AFC. I'd like to ask both of you, how did your guys' offseason go in your eyes? And Dan, I guess we'll start with you.
Yeah, so my obviously the Herbert trade was a huge deal. It was a big gamble, and I had a lot of pieces. So my offseason was going into it. I wanted to completely revamp my secondary. I wanted to get young. I wanted to get faster, and so I did that. I would say I kind of bunt singled on my first pick. It wasn't that great because he's normal dev. But he's still 6'3". He's still 21 years old. He's starts out I think with a 78 zone coverage and 91 speed. So there's plenty of growth there. There's plenty of good things. But then I feel like I hit a nice triple with my next pick and got a hidden dev 94 speed cornerback. And then my last first, which I traded basically this upcoming draft for, I ended up getting an 89 speed middle linebacker who already in 4 games has 5 sacks for me. So I got younger, I got faster. Overall, pretty excited about that. I don't think I made any moves that are gonna rock this season or be significant, but man, I feel like I'm pretty set up with a young team to go on through the rest of the cycle. So I'm excited for that. And I guess the other big thing and this had nothing to do with team building, but just the luck of the draw. I got, Austin Eckler's 2 abilities were great abilities. So I got mismatch out of the backfield and I got spin cycle. And so that's just going to make him, it's just going to make him even more of a dynamic player and allows me to kind of flirt around with a rookie quarterback and see if I can get lucky on some dev tokens and maybe get his throw power up a little bit. If that goes well, then I got a quarterback too. So I'm actually really happy with my offseason.
What about you, Fazz?
Yeah, so my offseason was similar. I didn't think I was going to make many splash moves. I knew that I had some big re-signs coming up this season, so I didn't want to blow cash in UFA. Signed a couple depth guys, Geno Atkins type, clog the middle, stuff like that where they're not sexy, but they come in and they play a role. So, I was happy to get a couple guys like that, some depth corners. I knew my, big swings were going to be in the draft. Thankfully, I was able to make that trade for Tutu Atwell. I took a chance on that, drops, open passes, was hoping that it wasn't going to make a difference. And thankfully, to this point, it has not. So he's, 22, 94 speed. So being able to get him for a third kind of opened up my options in the draft, didn't box me into having to do that. I was able to take Lance Murray in the first round. He's 22, 6'1", 94 speed corner, 74 zone right off the bat, or 72. I think I got a token for him already. But regardless, he's going to be a nice piece to, build in the secondary. And, that kind of gives me a really nice 2 to have opposite Trey. And then I was also able to get a right tackle who was hidden dev. I believe he's star, 21 years old. So, he's a nice piece there. I'm of the belief that offensive line does matter a little bit more this year. So, and Buffalo's is really bad to start. So it was nice to fill in a piece there. Added a couple other guys. Tavon Hayward is the running back I took pretty late. He's started out. I mean, he doesn't fumble like Breida does, so that's nice. 90 speed, which is way faster than Singletary and Moss. So he's been nice to mix in there, and then using Moss for the ground and pound stuff. So as a whole, it was more of a quiet offseason, but I've been happy with the team, and they feel good so far. A couple big wins earlier in the season, so can't complain with that at all.
Yeah, Fazz, I just to comment, I think you did well. I think you getting that second cornerback, I think adding a little speed to your receiver, and I think going a little bit different style running back, all those things were added pluses that just help your team. So I think that's a good move. And I just want to throw this out to guys, that are listening and thinking about their team and stuff. Go around and search some guys that are, 22, 23, maybe first, second year guys that are sitting on some benches and go get them and develop them. So, you did that with that receiver, and I think he's going to pay off with you. I got a defensive end off of Spooky that's 22. He's 86 speed, 91 acceleration, and I don't know if he's going to develop. I don't know, but it's worth a shot. So take a shot with it. I picked up off of Futures practice squad. I got a 23-year-old outside linebacker with 87 speed and 80 change of direction. And so I'm gonna let him sit and develop, and so just every once in a while go take a look at free agency, go take a look at some depth, go look at teams that might have guys just sitting on the bench that are young and offer them third, fourth round picks and try to develop them, and you never know, you just don't know what kind of tokens they'll get, and you hit on a few things and all of a sudden they become useful players. So that's a good way to help build your team.
Yep, and my last point to that with team building is the way that EA has kind of revamped training this year, it makes it a lot easier to have project players. You can get guys, you can set your practice stuff to backups. They get majority of the XP. We have more focused players as long as you look in the coaching trees. So this is the first game where I feel you can really effectively have guys that you don't plan on playing and build them up anyway. You can get, a 21-year-old guy who, is not starter worthy, but you set your practice stuff to backups, you focus him, and, you can really build guys up from there. So, this is the time to do that. I think that's great advice. And
speaking of paying attention to that tree, it's crucial because having those 3 extra focus players is huge.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and your veterans, don't ever give them XP because they're
right.
Really
they're not
matter.
going anywhere. Yep.
They're 30,000 XP to get one token isn't going to change them. But a 21-year-old, it might be only 3,000 or 4,000. And then if you get the right thing, all of a sudden now in a year or two they can be a quality player, starter, or maybe even get lucky in a dev game somewhere and they become superstars. So it's worth the gamble out there.
Yep, absolutely. So that should wrap up our team building section here. We're going to look at some division predictions. This is basically division roulette. I'm going to give you guys a division. Give me your 1 through 4, and we'll go from there. So we'll kick things off with the AFC North. Bomber and Company, DW. Give me 1 through 4, AFC North.
All right, 1 through 4, AFC North. Number 1, definitely Bomber, obviously. Number 2, I like the Ravens there. So I think Spade's going to actually do really well. He's just a really good player all the way around.
Tough offense for sure.
Yes. Number 3, Matt. I don't like the Haskins thing. I don't think anybody does. But Matt's a good player. I think he's eventually going to figure this out. He might be able to fight for that second spot eventually. But right now, this year, I got him in 3rd. And then poor Spooky. Love the guy, great dude, but he's at the bottom for me.
Yeah, tough to argue with that. Dan, let's hear it. AFC West, here's your shot. Take a shot.
Well, yeah, I mean, AFC West, I think I'm going to win it just because I already got the one win over Prime. He's got a loss to Bomber. He's got UFAS. So I think those things are going to obviously sway in my favor. I play him next week, and if I win that one, I think that division's wrapped up. Outside the Raiders, obviously making a big move. But I'm going to go myself. I'm going to go Prime number 2. I'm going to go Raiders number 3, and then I'm going to go Finns number 4. But Finns is most improved out of the division, so shout out to Finns for that.
There you go. That's a medal he can hang his hat on. DW Super Weenie Hut Junior Division, AFC South.
AFC South. Number 1, I got to go with Mike. I mean, the great offseason. The only thing that I'm seeing that's glaring there is his defensive numbers are a little bit low. But that might have also been a part of who he's playing and how he's playing now. But I think that he'll improve on that. But I got Mike first. Second, I want Field to be in there. I like Field. He's playing really well. He started out I think he's 1-2 right now, but I think he'll improve there. Coop, I got coming in third. Obviously, Coop and Field could be a toss-up there. Actually, I mean, any of these guys, this division's so hard.
It is.
Shoot. Yeah, I'll put Coop in third for now. He seemed to struggle a little bit. I know he just got shut out this past week, which is rough. And then ZZ, he's going to be on the bottom for me until he gets till he stops throwing a bunch of picks.
Yeah, more on him to come. Spoiler alert. Dan, wrap things up in the AFC with our division, the AFC East.
Yeah, AFC East. Again, I think top to bottom, probably the most balanced or best in that sense of the top 4 guys. I'm going to keep you at number 1 until Josh Allen dies. You'll be number 1. Meats is struggling a little bit, so I'm not sure what to take from him. And I think Bean with Stafford's going to be a little bit better, so I'm going to put Bean at number 2, and then DW and Meats. Oh man, you guys, I think are right there, 3 and 4. I'm still probably going to go Meats. And DW, I'm gonna put you sadly at 4, but I think you guys are the top 4 quality teams in any division that's out in the SML right now.
Man, I can respect that because Meats beat me twice last year. I mean, they were both decent games, but he does have the upper hand on me right now.
Yeah, I think they'll be good games, but I'm just going to put him a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think most underrated smart player in the league is Double Rice No Beans. This guy studies, he knows playbooks, he knows people's tendencies. He's kind of like a really souped up Paulie, if I'm being honest with you. So I can definitely respect his call of him at second, and could see him challenging for a wild card spot as well.
I'll have to add that to the files then. So
yes,
thanks for that information.
Take notes on that, because he's no joke. He's sneaky. So moving to the NFC, we'll start with the softball division. DW, the NFC West.
NFC West, obviously, Dump is just going to own this division. I think the whole entire cycle.
Yes.
For sure. I don't like the moves that Figs made in the offseason. Noel plays good, but Noel's got to stay consistent. He plays. Him and I are a lot alike. Consistency is not always on our side. I don't like Colts moves either, so I'm gonna put Seahawks second. I'm gonna put Figs in third with the Niners, and then I'm gonna put Colton last with the Rams.
Interesting. Figs in third. He's gonna be hyped up about that. Although according to him, he's gonna win 11 games, so we'll see.
He's also 2-1 starting out the season.
Yeah, 2-1 until he trades Lance.
Please don't do that, Figs. Figs, do not do that.
We're just all gonna beg him every day to just not trade him, and then NYT is gonna beg him every night to trade him. NFC South, Dan, what do you think?
NFC South is again a fun division. I think Paulie still has the best team because of his guys, still producing, and they haven't hit that age yet. Tom Brady, who knows when he'll retire. So I got Paulie first. I'm gonna put Woods number 2, just because Clinky's in a funk, and so. Sometimes Madden funks come in weird ways, and you can't get out of them. So, I'm firsthand experience that, losing 5 straight last season, and you're just like, you second guess yourself, and you do dumb things. And then any little thing that happens, it feels like a major thing happening. And it just, morale starts affecting you. So I'm going to put Woods at 2. I'm going to Clinky at 3, and then two-step. Sorry, buddy, but number 4.
NFC North, DW.
NFC North. Well, I got to put my boy QP. I mean, I think he's hands down the best player in the NFC right now, in my own personal opinion.
Nope, Dump's coming for you.
Yeah, Dump's always after me, but that's okay. But no, QP for first, definitely. I mean, this Monty guy, the books, he's new here, but I've heard good things about him. Of course, I've also heard, some other things about him. But we'll see what comes with that. Surprise for the end of this. Also, let's see here. I'm going to put Future third and then D-Muse in last. And only because I beat D-Muse, and that's my only win this season. Sorry, buddy. I love you, though.
There you go. Can't argue with that reasoning. And then wrapping it up, NFC East. What are we thinking, Dan?
NFC East is AFC South 2.0 a little bit here. You just never know what's going to happen from these guys. 1 minute Tiny plays great, the next minute he gets blown out. So, but I'm gonna trust that Grams has it figured out, and I'm gonna have Grams just slightly ahead of NYT. I think those two could flip flop, but I'm gonna put Grams slightly ahead of them. And then for 3 and 4, I'm going to put Tiny ahead of KJ. But again, I think those two could flip flop. I think that it's going to be kind of a top 2 and a bottom 2. So Grams, NYT, Tiny, and KJ is my number 4.
All right. So that's going to wrap up division predictions. We got one segment left for you. The Come On Man. We got one doozy. We got another one for you as well. Dan, why don't you start us off and we'll wrap up with the big one.
Yeah, so this one just happened. This one's fresh on everyone's mind. Everyone kind of watching the Texans versus the Chiefs, and again, credit to ZZ. Played a great game. Had everything lined up, everything good. It's tough to stop that Chief team. Especially when that bazooka gets lit up. But first of all, there's 2 moments that I just got to say, come on, man. Like, Prime scores. He's down. At that point, I think it was the 14 points. He's going for the extra point. Everybody in SML knows Prime loves the field goal fake, the extra point fake, and there he goes, and he runs it and sets him up to get the easy win at the end, that he doesn't even have to go for 2 to get the win. So first of all, right there is easy. Come on, man. Like, you played so well. You played so good. You had everything lined up, and then you let that happen. And then the next one, you've got the ball. You're running the clock out. You just had a nice run with Watson. I think there was about 2 minutes, maybe 15 seconds left. 1 timeout. You could have run a few plays, just ran it right up the gut. Even if you don't get a first down, you could have ran the clock down to about 1:20, maybe a minute left. Instead, you throw the ball away, you stop the clock. You basically give him a free timeout. So, Prime's a tough guy to beat. I call him Michael Myers because it feels like anytime you think he's dead, he comes back to life. And hats off to Prime. Good comeback. I got to give you credit for that. And again, you're a hard man to kill. But ZZ, man, you had him dead. All you had to do was take the final kill shot, the double tap, ZZ. All you needed was the double tap, and he would have been dead. Kill him twice. Just run the ball. Game over. Come on, man.
Yes, ugly for sure. Game management is going to be the theme of this one this week, and we're going to be heading to Green Bay. I actually had a completely different plan for this. Watching Montezuma play against Q, had him dead to rights. He decided to scramble with Mac Jones and just not slide. Gets his head taken off, fumbles. Q scores, obviously then. Green Bay goes on and loses the game. However, he ended up giving us something that's far even better than that. I don't know what this was. Playing against Tiny last night. This is probably the craziest game I've ever watched in the SML. So he's driving, and you can pull up your screens for this if you're not watching, because we have the footage here. So he's driving, he's on the field, 42-42, 1 timeout, 25 seconds left. Throws a semi-risky pass here, fits it in, beautiful pass, calls his timeout really early. So you're like, okay, that might not be the best time, but it's okay, whatever. He stops the clock, goes to field goal, and says, nope, just kidding, I'm going to kneel the ball. With no timeouts, 20 seconds left, he says, I'm going to kneel it. I don't know why, but I mean, he wants to see the clock run, I guess. I don't know if he wants to hit it as time expires. Well, he kneels it. Tiny's so confused that he actually calls a timeout for him. So 17 seconds left. He gives Monty another chance. So come on, man, Tiny. And then Monty says, no, I'm going to do this my own way. I'm going to kneel the ball again. So he comes out in QB kneel, no timeout, 17 seconds left. Here he comes. He gets to the line. And now he's thinking like, wait, this is a really bad idea. What am I doing? I can't let the clock run down. I'm going to lose 5 yards and make this a near impossible kick, an iced 56-yarder. So he says, well, I guess I have no other choice. I'm just going to kneel it anyway. So he kneels the ball, clock's running, 15 seconds, 14, 13. Now he's panicking. He has no idea what to do. He goes and calls whatever the heck he can find. It's a horrible play call. 10 seconds left. He comes out in a spacing concept. It's all curls on the field. He quick hot routes a tight end streak because he's got no other choice. Snaps the ball, 3 seconds, no time. Throws a Stevie because he's got no other options. And then because God says, I can't watch this game anymore, Tiny's guy fans on the pick. It's caught by the Packers tight end in the end zone, and the Packers win. What in the world did I just watch? Come on, man.
Yeah, I heard him say that he thought he could spike it, and I guess Madden doesn't let you do a kneel down and spike. But still, I mean, even that rationale to think he's going to, kneel and then spike instead of, either kick the field goal there or run a play where it's either – out of bounds or incomplete. But come on, man, like a spike and then field goal or touchdown. Hey, oh man, I feel bad for Tiny that he had to lose that game for that.
Yeah, that was a tough watch. I definitely would have retired for at least like an hour after that one.
I'm bummed that I completely missed that.
Dude,
Did you see it live? Did you see it live, Fazz?
Oh, I watched it live. I couldn't work for an hour. I was just,
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what words I would say watching that live.
Oh, me in the chat. I mean, you probably would have thought I was having a seizure. It was unbelievable. I didn't know how to process anything. He calls the first kneel, and I was panicked. I was like, what is he doing? And then Tiny called the timeout, and I was like, what is Tiny doing? And then he kneeled it again, and then I was just like running around my office like, what is going on?
Did you ever did he explain himself why he was doing the kneels at all?
He thought that he could kneel the ball and then hurry up into a spike. So I guess his thought was that he would kneel the ball, hurry up, get into spike formation, and then spike it with 3 seconds left. But then he realized he couldn't do it the first time when Tiny then called the timeout, and then he just came out and did it again. So I don't know what the rationale of the second one was, but that's at least what he said for the first one. But I don't know. Come on, man, with that. And there's nothing we're going to say that's going to top that. So that's all we've got for this show this week. Thanks for tuning in. Dan, thanks for being here, critiquing some off seasons with us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. And, anyone that's upset, this isn't Polly and the truth. I'm just actually trying to help everybody out here. So if you have problems with what I said, DM me, man. I'd love to help you. No hard feelings. We all can get better at this game, but some people might need a little extra help here.
Just to add on real quick, Dan, man, if we can get you on for this, you're great with this for these off-season moves and everything. Maybe we can make this like a, seasonally thing.
Yeah, I'd love to be on here. Like I said, like Faz even said, I think Bomber's the best in the league, but I also think, I've been doing it long enough. I got some things that I have up my sleeve too. So I'm glad to help out, glad to make some comments.
And I would also just like to say thank you guys for covering me this week. I was slammed with work, so I didn't really have a lot of prep for this. If you couldn't tell who's listening, that I haven't been talking a whole lot. So yeah, I'm just here along for the ride, having fun. So thank you both you guys. You guys did great.
Hey, of course. We're just we're having a good time. It was a good show. Pleasure to have you both. We will see you next time. And it sounds like Dan again at the end of season 2.
See you guys.